Anyway, EastEnders isn't just torturing characters in the name of festive ratings. No, it's confronting important issues.
Take Little Mo's appalling treatment at the hands of a satanic overlord called Trevor, which for reasons beyond the realm of normal human understanding was recently voted one of the British public's favourite Christmas TV moments. It's the kind of horror that could only be interpreted by one of the sharpest minds in the country.
When it comes, it's such tragedy because it's heading Christmas dinner, so it's the wickedest thing he could do.
Oh, I don't know, Tina, it looks like he put the effort into the roast potatoes.
You're not hungry?
This wasn't just a cheap holiday in other people's misery, it was opening all our eyes, yeah?
It was pretty grim Christmas telly viewing, but at the same time, there's a lot of that going on in Britain, and it was an important message to get across.
If you've got to do negative issues, what about diarrhea? I mean, there's a lot of that around on Christmas Day, and there's never been a special in which Ian suddenly shits himself in the middle of a game of Pass the Parcel. Unless that's coming up this year. Christmas is cancelled. Anyway, abuse, breakdowns and divorce aren't the only social dilemmas explored by EastEnders. In 2004, they fearlessly confronted the widespread problem of spontaneous musical numbers.
Was Christmas Eve, babe, in the drunk tank? No man said to me, won't see another one. So happy Christmas, I love you, baby. Can't see a better time when all our dreams came true.
EastEnders' Christmas party was precisely the sort of thing that could only be viewed through a haze of alcohol and mince pies, a nightmare of ghoulish obscenity in which one song after another was horrifically murdered right before our very eyes.
They've got cars big as bars, they've got rivers of gold, but the wind blows right through you, it's no place for the old. When you first took my hand on a cold Christmas Eve, you promised me Broadway was waiting for me.
This, my friends, is the death of music itself. Merry Christmas.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Over the years, I'd heard talk of mysterious informal tapes, codenamed Christmas tapes, circulated amongst TV insiders. It was said these tapes contained material so shocking it could never be shown to the public. I wanted to find out more. A contact agreed to meet me on the understanding we hired an actor to play him and altered his voice in post.
Hello. All right. Yeah. Great, thanks for asking.
No problem. So, you're going to ask me about these tapes, then?
Yeah, sorry. What exactly are...
Christmas tapes, right, was an unofficial festive treat, what got sort of circulated at the end of the year amongst the backroom boys who worked in VT.
Well, we seem to have temporarily lost that programme, but meanwhile we continue with White Powder Christmas.
And at 8 p.m, The Good Life, showing that self-sufficiency is possible anywhere outside the BBC.
Started out as something the BBC VT department did. A lot of them had to work Christmas Day, playing in all the pre-recorded shows, so, you know, they needed a bit of cheering up. Later ITV started doing their own tapes. Each of the regions, right, would make one, then there'd be a little contest to decide whose was best. It started out as outtakes, really. Every time something went wrong in the studio, people knew it would end up on the tapes. Of course, these were the days before you saw people making mistakes on TV, so they were a funny novelty then. Today you see some of the ruder ones on shocking shows like TV's Naughtiest Blunders.
How long, Ken?
Insufficient data.
Yeah, you never fucking know the answer when it's important.
As time went on, right, tapes got a bit more complex. You'd get little sketches made specially for them, links with like well-known faces and shit.
Oh, Mr. Randall, there's a couple of very nice crackers there.
There were lots of technical TV and jokes as well. I mean, a lot of it wouldn't make sense to anyone who didn't work in VT in the late 70s to the mid-80s.
We're still getting these changeable decisions from the presentation department. A good deal of wind, too. But I do have a couple of cold fronts to show you.
They're quite raunchy in places, aren't they?
Well, in places, yeah. You have to understand this was a very blokey world, right, in a very different time.
Did these Christmas tapes ever leak out?
Yeah, bits of them did. Some tabloid did an expose once. Then there was this naughty rainbow sketch that made it onto TV. Lots of sort of cheap innuendo performed with straight faces and that.
We could hear you all banging away. Banging can be fun.
Yes, and I was banging away all last night with Rod and Roger.
So that was originally written and performed by the cast specifically for A Christmas Tape?
Yeah, but then Victor Lewis Smith.
Who?
Victor Lewis Smith. He's sort of like a rich man's you.
Right.
He put the rainbow sketch in one of his excellent TV offal shows on Channel 4 a few years back, and it sort of permeated into popular folklore as a result.
Never saw it.
What, never?
Nope.
You'd have liked it.
Can we move on?
Now it just remains for me to say a very Merry Christmas to all the boys in VT.
So what became of the Christmas tapes? Are they still around today?
No, they died out, didn't they? I mean, you got your TV's naughtiest blunders and your auntie's bloomers now, so there'd be less novelty. And you'd email clips to each other anyway, or stick them up on YouTube.
End of an era then?
Yup.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, yeah.
Now here's comedian Rhys Thomas talking about a programme he remembers from his childhood, which I think took place about 5 minutes ago.
The Box of Delights was one of those programmes which the BBC made for children that ran up to Christmas. It's set in the 1940s and it's about a boy who comes home from school and then obviously, like all those things, comes back for Christmas and gets involved in an adventure. And an old man sees him on the train and basically he's a magic man and he's got a box of delights that he gives to him, the boy, to protect because there's bad people after him and the box.
And I may bring more than my show. In my box are such delights as you...
Inside the box, you can go back in time, you can go small, big, or whatever, and there's a bad man called Abner, who's the evil man, he's kind of like a Nazi, even though he isn't, played by Robert Stevens. He's after the box and the boy.
Where is the box now? For there was no sign of it when we captured him at Arthur's camp this morning.
Because he's a true thespian and very theatrical, he puts so much into the performance that he is frightening because you really believe that he's real. He doesn't camp it up and make it funny. He's just really scary.
I will get that box from him, Rat, for it will give me power.
My favourite character in The Box of Lights is Cole Hawley, who's the old Punch and Judy man, played by Patrick Troughton. You know, these days in this world of everyone, you see an old man and he's talking to a little boy, you think the wrong thing. There's something about him and how warm he is and lovely. It makes you just want to cuddle him. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's something with me.
I look to you. Will you keep it and see that they never get it?
The visual effects in The Box of Delights, I mean, compared to today's standards, obviously aren't very good. But, you know, what still does look good are the shrinking scenes. There's scenes where the baddies are coming and they've got a toy boat on the river and he uses the Box of Delights and they shrink and they get on the toy boat and they float down the stream. The animation is what is the best part of it. There's a scene where Kay Harker goes into the box and goes into a wood and meets this hunter and he starts off running like a deer. What everyone will remember is the title sequence where you see all the characters' faces. There's a wolf's head and then you see the Abner's face and then you see like a rat thing and it's quite creepy. The best bit is when Cole Hawley goes into the picture and disappears on a donkey. That's nice. I suppose you could say he's a little bit like Jesus, but Jesus wasn't was he on a donkey? No, it was just Mary and Joseph were on the donkey. Jesus wasn't born then, no, he wasn't born. I really honestly think that there's nothing on television like this anymore. I mean, I don't see it. You know, those were the days when it did snow at Christmas and it was really cold. I sound like an old man, but they were the best years of my life, and even thinking about it makes me sad, to be honest.
By the time Christmas evening trundles round, chances are you've completely run out of things to say to each other, or you've got so drunk you couldn't think your way out of a wet paper bag. With all this heating and all these bodies, the room soon becomes so oppressively warm, any kind of motion whatsoever is completely unthinkable. You're trapped here together. This is just what it would be like sharing a shelter together after a nuclear holocaust, except at least then half the c***s would be lying dead outside in a bin liner with their national insurance number Tipp-X'd up the side, not taking up too much room on the sofa and silently blowing off every 5 minutes. F*** me, have you been eating burnt grass or something? Smells like someone's opened a tomb. What have you got in there? Dog's bowels? Jesus Christ! At this point, telly comes into its own as a kind of magic escape portal, a set of shimmering blinkers that make everything else disappear. Here's where the channels wheel out their biggest Christmas hits. It's all good-natured, nation-uniting, slap-happy gang show fun. This tradition started back in 1958 with Christmas Night with the Stars, an annual Yuletide goodie bag which mixed cheerful musical numbers with special 5 to 10 minute fun-sized festive editions of popular comedies. Everything from the cosy "God, don't they look young there" sitcom Marriage Lines.
I've always wanted to buy you something to wear, but I've never been sure of your size before.
To the glam rock surrealism of the goodies.
Although, let's face it, in this state you'd watch absolutely anything. What's that? A load of snowy horse-drawn bullshit? Yes, please. Since almost everyone in the country winds up slumped in front of the box on Christmas evening, most of the big specials have become engraved on the national conscience, by which I mean we remember them. Many deserve to be remembered. They were crafted with love, a real sense of, hey, let's muck in and entertain the nation. Good old-fashioned crowd-pleasing, that's what should be on at Christmas, and by and large that's what is. Mind you, the definition of crowd-pleasing has changed somewhat throughout the years. For years, this cheerful, quipping magician was one of the nation's biggest draws, whereas today it's de rigueur to sneer at him, and I don't really understand why. I mean, he was my childhood hero. That man entertained millions of people at Christmas. What have you done that's so bloody superior to that? And his theme song had the best lyrics ever.
You're gonna see a whole lot of magic. Look at this trick and that trick. And when he says it's not a lot, you'll agree it's such a lot. Meet the man who excels.
Mind you, a lot of things are a bit less popular than they used to be.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Black and White Minstrel Show!
Once upon a time, the Black and White Minstrel Show was considered acceptable Christmas Day fare. Today, it's downright mind-boggling. Not to mention offensive on about 17 billion different levels at once, especially if you stop gasping long enough to actually listen to the lyrics.
We want a snake for Christmas, yeah, yeah. All slippery and slimy and red. We want that snake for Christmas and make a nice home in our sister's bed.
Of course, we all love a bit of music at Christmas. That's why everyone on the box insists on pointlessly bursting into song at the first sign of tinsel.
Santa Claus is my name, and a Christmas wrapping is the game.
Here we see John Leslie gamely zhuzhing up a festive Blue Peter like the musical natural no one wants him to be. Good job there's 2 P's in rapping. You could be forgiven for thinking that come Christmas time any old show will just chuck in a musical number for the sake of it. Apart from this show, obviously. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn bloody king. Yeah! Peace on earth and mercy mild. God and sinner reconciled. Well, you know what? Ours might be a cynical, detached, cold, even unfeeling sort of a programme, but nevertheless, we're no exception to the festive singing and dancing rule, which is why right now, to see us out, we've got the Actionettes with some lovely dancing, while I go over there and build a snowman or look at a robin or something. Merry Christmas, and I genuinely mean that.
Merry Christmas, pretty baby. You sure did treat me nice. Merry Christmas, pretty baby. You sure did treat me nice.
Prepare for a scare tomorrow night on BBC 4. Ghost Stories for Christmas from 10.